why not look at some of the greatest players of all time who never garnered an all-star selection. Now, in this video, we will be looking at specific seasons that definitely did honor an all-star selection, but they weren't picked for the team. But with that being said, these 5 players definitely have multiple seasons where they do garner an all-star selection, but we will be looking at their career best years. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get right into this video. The first player, Mike Bibby, in the 2005-06 campaign with the Sacramento Kings. How could a player with such an outstanding season, putting up all-star worthy numbers, never make an all-star roster? In this season, Bibby would average 21.1 points per game, 5.4 assists per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, 1.5 steals per game in 37.4 minutes of action. But it's not only just that. I mean, the shooting splits on this guy was absolutely insane. 45% from the field, 38.5% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. The record of the Kings, they would be 44-38. Bibby not only showcased his scoring ability, but his prowess as a playmaker that year, averaging 21 points, obviously 5 assists. He was the driving force behind that Sacramento Kings successful, era. The Western Conference during Bibby's prime, it was stacked with legendary guards like Kobe, Nash, Iverson, but despite that, Mike never being an all-star, to me that holds significant weight to the Sacramento Kings basketball history, because look, this guy helped them reach the Western Conference Finals in 2002 as the lead guard, and that went on to be one of the most controversial NBA series. It probably is the most controversial in NBA history. The next player, Jefferson. What a man. A force to be reckoned with in the paint for sure. He had a career which was marked by consistent excellence. Yet there's one season to me that truly shines above them all. The 2013-14 campaign with the Charlotte Bobcats. In that year, he averaged around 22 points per game, around 11 rebounds per game, around a block per game, 51% from the field, and the Bobcats, most importantly, had a positive record at 43-39. He would make the All-NBA third team that season despite not being an all-star, but to think a guy like Jefferson, who was one of the best bigs in the league for almost a decade, was never an all-star, it's pretty insane to me at least. Obviously players like LeBron, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, they would have dominated all-star selections in that Eastern Conference, but the competition, it's pretty stiff for Al not to be an all-star. The next player, Andre Miller. Known for his court vision and his ability to control the game, had a career which was overall really consistent, and he was one of the most unselfish players to play the game of basketball in NBA history. The one season that shines out to me was the 2001-2 campaign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is before, you could argue that inflated stats were a thing in basketball. When you look at guys like Halliburton averaging 25 and 12, it's obviously insane, but at the time, Andre Miller averaging 6.5 points per game, 11 assists per game, 5 rebounds, around a steal and a half. The Cavs did go 29-53 that year, but averaging a double-double with over 16 points per game and nearly 11 assists was, he's the engine to that whole Cleveland Cavaliers team. You could argue that he was their franchise player before LeBron James became a Cleveland Cavalier. Reasoning for Andre Miller never being an all-star, maybe he wasn't as flashy as a guy like Allen Iverson or a Jason Kidd or even a Vince Carter. They were fan favorites, making the all-star selection process for a guy like Andre Miller a little bit difficult. Toni Kukoc. The Croatian sensation who graced the NBA with his unique set of skills. He just brought that European style of play to the NBA, one of the first guys to do so. While his career was filled with memorable moments, winning championships with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, there's one season that I think honored and garnered an all-star selection, and that is the 1998-99 campaign with the Chicago Bulls. We saw Kukoc average around 19 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 5 assists, 1 steal, and his shooting splits would look like 43% from the field, 37% from 3, 81% from the line. Sadly, the Chicago Bulls would be one of the worst teams in the league, and that was a lockout year. Their record was 13-37. And I guess you could argue that Kukoc wasn't ever an all-star because his career year was a lockout year when there was no all-star game. And imagine if he got in the NBA a little bit earlier, we could have seen, I guess, Toni Kukoc, the superstar sensation in the league, if he hadn't spent so much time in Europe prior to becoming an NBA player. The next player, one of my favorite players, definitely of all time, this guy was just a freak of nature with the ball, and that is Jamal Crawford. The maestro with the rock in his hands had a career filled with thrilling moments, that's for sure. And yeah, he definitely was one of the best six-man, or the best six-man in NBA history. In, I guess, what you could consider a career year with the LA Clippers, Crawford not only displayed his scoring prowess, but he also was one to just embrace that six-man role, where not many NBA stars did so in the 2000s especially. Think about guys like Allen Iverson, who almost refused to come off the bench. Even like recently, Carmelo Anthony. A lot of guys who have the talent level of Jamal Crawford aren't willing to come off the bench, and the fact that he embraced that, he was an all-star caliber guy, but he was just never an all-star. He played such a crucial role to that 57-25 LA Clippers team who had real championship aspirations. That team was obviously known as the Lob City Clippers. That year, he was the sixth man of the year. He averaged around 19 points per game, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, and the team won 57 games, which is pretty damn good. Guards like Steph Curry, Chris Paul, James Harden all were kind of, got the nod over a guy like Jamal Crawford, but nevertheless, definitely an all-star level guard within his career, for sure. Without further ado, that has been 5 NBA players who garnered all-star selections within their career, but were never honored to be an all-star. If you guys did enjoy this video and you would like to see a similar video, we definitely have plenty more players who were never honored NBA all-star selections, so we can definitely do that for you guys. But without further ado, comment down below if you guys have any video ideas, and we definitely probably will deliver on your promise. But nevertheless, it's been Marks from the Bench Mob. We've appreciated having you guys on the channel today, and for now, we will see you in the next video. We out, baby.